Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from Nightwing2303.com. Today we have the Air Jordan 1 Retro High, and I have finally completed playing in these guys here. They were much different than what I had anticipated, and real briefly, main question is probably, are these actually playable today? And the short answer and simple answer is yes. So, without wasting too much of your time, let's just get right into it. So as usual, we'll start off with the bottom of the shoe here. As you can see, the traction features, no herringbone, things like that. However, the traction on this particular model was the biggest surprise ever. It is 100% perfect from toe to heel. You have your old school pivot points. You have a lot of texture throughout all of these smoothed out flat surfaces, including the toe with all the stars. And the main difference was the circular motion and rubber there. This is very soft and very flexible. So this gripped the floor perfectly from a front to back standpoint and made easy transitions through pivoting, and as well as curling around screens, cutting, things like that, crossovers, all of that kind of stuff. So these shoes, from a traction standpoint, really planted me on the floor perfectly. It kept me in place while in motion. I didn't have any slipping whatsoever. Bar none, this is probably some of the best traction I've actually used, besides herringbone and things like that. So it's real easy to try and compare everything to the Zoom Kobe 4, because that's pretty much the go-to model as far as a traction surface is concerned. But the traction on these is actually really, really nice. So traction, in my opinion, it was just pretty much perfect, and it'll work well both indoor and outdoor, no matter the court condition, which was the greatest part, because I was on some really dusty indoor courts and these things still held up perfectly well. So as far as cushion is concerned, all you have really is an embedded airbag in the heel. There's really nothing else in the forefoot, and you really couldn't feel the heel cushion whatsoever, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't swap out insoles or anything like that. I kept them exactly how they were out of the package, and this is just solid rubber from forefoot all the way to the heel, and it definitely plays that way. So one thing with the cushion is that is an easy fix. So all you have to do if you wanted to play in a pair of Air Jordan 1s is just buy an insole. You have all types of insoles. This particular one is Sole Soft. You can pick these up. I think I got this at like a Sports Authority, but you can get them at Foot Locker's, Finish Lines, I think a Champ Sports. So pretty much anywhere where they have insoles, you can get anything to your specifications. So whether you need heel cushion, forefoot cushion, both, all of that stuff, it's in there, and all you got to do is just measure, cut, and stick it in your shoe. So other than that, cushion was pretty bad, but again, it was not something that hindered its overall performance. The main thing is that it does take a toll on your body. So my feet, my knees, and mostly my knees, those really felt all of that kind of impact that I was taking throughout the course of wearing these, because I'd be on the court for about 4 or 5 hours at a time, and by the next day you can definitely feel a difference from something like this compared to something newer with a little bit more modern technology, mostly the Phylon and the foams that are in the midsoles. So this wouldn't have been so bad if it was foam, but since it's rubber, it definitely did take a toll on my body. As far as materials and fit is concerned, basically you just have a full leather upper, so it's pretty simple, and then you have your rubber on the bottom here. So the leather was, it was decent. It's not the best leather that you can possibly buy, but it is durable, because it's got that. If you watch my Air Jordan 4 Retro, the white and cement video, I kind of explained a little bit how leathers worked and things like that, or the leathers that are used. So this is that type of leather. It's just like a split grain. So, and then it has a coating on top, which is pretty much what saves the shoe. So there's a few scuffs here and there. I don't know if you can wipe them off. I don't really care, but overall the shape, it retained its shape for the most part. The more that you wore them on court due to the lack of ventilation, the shape I noticed would loosen up every so often. So I'd have to constantly readjust my laces after every 1 or 2 games. The fit itself, I thought it was actually really, really nice. The heel is sculpted in the back as far as the padding goes. So there's not much of it right down here in the base, but right at the top it's very thick, and it really cups your ankle, your Achilles, and your heel, keeps it in place. This section of the material is very similar to what Converse used to do with their Y-bar. So basically when you lace up these last 2 eyelets, it's supposed to really hug and pull your heel into the back of the shoe for some lockdown. Because it's all sewn on, it doesn't really do that exactly, but you can kind of see the concept of it, just to draw your heel in there. Luckily it is a high top. It is very well sculpted with the padding, so it does actually do that. I just wouldn't credit the material itself or the design to do that. So the midfoot, it was a perfect fit, perfectly conformed to my foot. The toe box was a little bit spacious once they were laced up all the way. So luckily there are these little notches here, something that you would see in even some newer shoes like the Flyweight 1 and 2 and things like that. So when you flexed, it really, kept everything perfectly nice. So you didn't notice that dead space as much as you could have if it was a very stiff kind of toe box, something like the LeBron line. So when you have materials that are a little bit too spacious and they're really stiff, you can really feel your foot move around on the forefoot, which it didn't really affect me whatsoever. So ventilation is pretty self-explanatory. The only real area where there are perforations would be the toe, and it did an okay job. It wasn't anything special. And then there's a nylon tongue which offers some breathability but not much. Everything else is just fully encased, so by the end of the night your feet are very wet. There's not a lot of airflow coming through here, so that is something, if you don't like shoes that are very restrictive as far as breathability and airflow goes, you might not want to even look at these. But there are other options if you like this styling, such as the Air Jordan 1 Alpha and the Air Jordan 1 Alpha Outdoor. So which you can get the Alpha from Nike ID. They're not in stores anymore, but Nike ID has them available, or you can get them on eBay as well. So ventilation, like I said, self-explanatory. Really only 2 areas that have somewhat of an airflow, and it didn't do really that well, but it wasn't horrible by any means. As far as support is concerned, you really don't have much of any, or there isn't any whatsoever actually. So there's no pronounced arch, there is no shank plate, so everything here is very, very flexible. It has perfect court feel if that's what you're looking for. The outsole here, it's very soft, so you definitely feel the ground, and it's literally directly underneath your foot. So if court feel is something that you're interested in, these probably have one of the best low to the ground, low profile type feelings that you could get in any sneaker whatsoever. Do I recommend that? That's really up to you. So, but again, there's no shank plate. There's no heel counter. There is no sprint frame or anything like that you'd see on modern shoes. So those of you with flat feet, this might work out since there's not an arch plate like really pushing into your foot there. People with wide feet, you're going to want to really try these on to see if they work for you. The materials do stretch and things like that, especially with the low airflow, because with all that heat and moisture buildup, it's softening up the leather quite a bit. Those of us with narrow feet like myself, like I said earlier, you're going to have to keep tightening up the laces and things like that. As far as the support category, is there something that you could do to fix that? Yes, there is. You could just get a simple insole, just like you can with the cushion. This particular one does have heel cushion in there, but it's also an arch support insole. So there's all kinds of insoles available from all types of brands. This one is by Spenco Polysorb. So this is basically like a polyurethane bottom here, and then it's got foam injected in the heel and the forefoot for some additional cushioning. But all of these little things that are on the shoe, aside from them being really, really old, are fixable. So, or I'm not going to say that this particular shoe is old, but the styling and the technology that's in them is pretty old. So you could pretty much go to Kmart and grab a pair of Shacks. I don't know if they sell Shacks at Kmart, but if they do, those, believe it or not, are probably a little bit more technologically advanced than something like this. But again, these are definitely playable, and I was very surprised. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's not too bad. Most thing is that they cost about $100 now, $120, something like that. And for what you're actually getting, unless you're strictly using it for casual usage, you're not really paying performance price, because you could get a pair of, you know, really great Adidas for about $100, $110 and get perfect, you know, modern technology for performance. Alright guys, so that takes care of it for the Air Jordan 1 Retro High. Again, these were just, you know, very surprising in certain areas, mostly the traction. There are certain things that you might want to look out for, such as the cushion. But again, you can fix that very easily with an insole swap. Same thing with the support section. There's really no arch support whatsoever. These are very flat. But again, there are insoles for that as well. And if you wanted to play in something like this, have this type of styling, this old school 1980s, 1985 kind of look to it, which I personally love, there's other options. You can always go with the Air Jordan 1 Alpha. This is the outdoor version. You know, so this one, you could get these still on eBay for, you know, a moderately decent price depending on your size. There's a more rugged material on certain sections, mostly the toe cap and the heel. This particular pair does come with an ankle strap, and then there is increased ventilation throughout on the toe box and side panels. The main upgrades that they made besides the material changes were with the cushion. So you have a Phylon midsole with a full length bottom loaded zoom, and then the traction, in my opinion, wasn't really something that needed to be upgraded after playing in the ones, but you can see here that the Air Jordan 1 Alpha definitely is an upgrade in all areas. So there's herringbone, it's in a circular motion, so you're kind of getting grip no matter which direction you're moving in. If you don't like the outdoor version, say you play indoors, you could always go with the Air Jordan 1 Alpha, just the basic regular version. Again, those aren't available in stores either, but you can get them for a decent price on eBay, or you can go to NikeID.com and you can create your pair. They still have that available as an option to ID over there. So, and that's a great way, because then you can make it any colorway that you want. So, thank you guys for all your support. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for liking, commenting, and all of your subscriptions. Stay tuned, because next month we are going to go with the Air Jordan 2, and you know, if you're not viewing my site, Nightwing2303.com, you're missing a lot of information on these shoes. Everybody's asking me, like, when is it starting, things like that. It had already started by the time you had asked that question, and you would have known that had you have you know, frequently visited my site, which is Nightwing2303.com. So thank you guys again. That pretty much takes care of everything. So until next time, guys, have a good one.